Welcome back to Tabletop Vibes. Today, we're going to take a look at Expeditions by Stonemaier Games. This is the direct sequel to Scythe.
Yeah.
Lost it there for a sec. Got it back. Okay.
Yes.
So, had a lot of fun with this. Adam, how'd you like this one?
Yeah, actually, I think I'd choose this over Scythe.
Nice.
Personally.
Nice.
Not to jump to the end of the video, but let's start off differently. I'd actually pick this over playing Scythe. I really like it's way quicker than playing Scythe. There's a lot of strategy inside of it all, which we'll go into, but I really like it. So you got bigger hex tiles than Scythe. You have, again, asymmetrical abilities that you have with your mechs, and then you're kind of like roaming the different terrains, expeditions, or expediting your expedition to explore. That's a lot of ease. And so, and then the win condition is, again, getting your stars out there,
just
right?
like Scythe.
Just like Scythe,
Yep.
Stonemeier's classic stars, right? So you're going to get those out there in different areas again. And then whoever has the most stars once 4 stars are out, then the game triggers.
Right. End game triggers, everybody gets one more turn.
Right.
End of game, whoever has the most points wins. My personal thing, I would probably also choose this if I was in the mood for a shorter game. If I'm in for a longer game, one with way more strategy, way more interaction with players.
Yeah.
Because the Scythe is a little more area control interaction, and this one is a lot more strategy and chaining your events together.
Yeah.
So again, whatever feel I'm in, still love both games.
Right. This does play, I think, up to 5.
Yeah.
So I think if you had 5 players on the map, it could add more player interaction. But again, a lot of it is just you're kind of focused on like your programming, because like as in Scythe, you're kind of programming where you're choosing different actions and doing it. This is more setup than that.
Right, so let's get into the game. So,
Yes.
to start this game off, you all start with some sort of asymmetrical character, I guess you could say, and their companion. There's not too much difference between these, but they do have slightly different abilities, slightly different starting resources.
Yeah, I think I had a tiger.
Yeah, and I had the walking. Not the trash can, the distillery. The walking distillery with arms for saws. I thought it was a woodcutter, but I like a walking distillery a lot better.
I was a giant mech, long. I look like a spider. No, I look like a mosquito.
There you go.
That's
there
what I look like.
Yeah. So with the game itself, again, you're going to start it off with your character. You're going to start it off at your base camp, and in front of you is the world of the expedition area, and this kind of is divided into 3 different locations. So you have the south area, and this is where you have the plains and the rivers, and everything's turned up, and you can see everything, and it's all nice and friendly.
All safe.
It's all safe, nice and friendly. Then you get the central area. Now this is hidden. You always play with the same tiles, but you don't know where they are.
Right.
And with this one, thematically, it's kind of more like swampy, abandoned area.
Yeah.
You're going to have corruption on these areas, which mitigate what you can do on those tiles.
Yeah, it covers another action that you could take.
Right.
That's usually that in the safe zone.
Yeah.
Both of those actions are available. In the next, those are covered up by corruption.
Right. So then you get to the far area. That's the north area. This is kind of
snowy,
the desolation. Nothing there. A lot more corruption on there.
Tons.
Sorry. Yeah, and that's kind of the overall game.
Yeah.
In terms of how it looks.
Yeah. So then, so every turn, when you first start, you're able to take all 3 actions, which is move, play a card, and gather. And so. When you're going...
And you have to take them. They're
mandatory.
mandatory. They're mandatory. Yeah.
So then when you go through, though, you're going to start... You'll then only be able to take 2 at a time until you decide to refresh.
Right. And I really like that mechanic.
It's a really cool mechanic.
It's a really neat one. So you really have to decide...
Commit.
What's more important to you at that time period.
Yeah. Because, if I do move and gather, well, I can't play any cards and resolve quests and things like that, which mean my leader and my companion aren't getting played.
Right. So, but the thing is, you can keep redoing this, the same 2 actions, until you refresh, and then you get access to all 3 actions the following turn. But you're basically losing a turn by doing that.
Because your refresh turn is like you're resetting, and then it goes. The other person comes back, and now you can take your actions again.
Right. So a lot of really deciding when to do that's super critical in the game.
Yeah, like I guess kind of stated before, there's a lot more programming aspect where you want to try to set up your moves, which is also in Scythe, but I feel like it comes into play way more in Expeditions. And so for the move action, most of the time you can move up to 1 to 3 spaces. My mech let me move up to 4 long legs. benefits. I don't know how that feels in real life, but
So
in the game, I got to.
You can't occupy the same space as somebody else. You can move through them, but you can't occupy.
So there's some strategy you could block people by sitting in their spot, sitting where they want to go if you knew where they want to go.
Whether willingly or unwillingly.
Right, yeah. So then you can also play a card. So while there's a lot of different abilities where like there's cards set out in the map that you can just pick up. Some are like meteorites, items, quests. There's quests in this, which is I think is really cool. It kind of gives the Lords of Waterdeep feel in a different way.
Yes, and the cards themselves, they're structured differently. Just a brief overview. The more common cards are going to have some sort of free resource obtaining once you put it down.
Yeah, or a meeple.
And we'll get you some sort of extra resource if you have 1 or 2 stars. So getting the initial couple stars is super critical to get a lot more resources.
Yes. So one of the things that you spend in this game is strength, and I think mine. Or
it is power and guile.
Oh, guile. That's what it is. It looks like brain. And so you're doing power and guile, and you're paying for do different things, and you can spend them to do different actions. You're also trying to gain them, like Jason said, on different cards. If you have more than 1 or 2 stars, you're gaining whatever the top is in that card that you've chosen.
And you need the power and guile in order to remove the corruption. That's the main feature of getting that.
Which helps.
Right. You also, and I underwhelmed this myself, much to my detriment, you can gain workers, and there's 5 different color workers.
Yeah.
And these, I think you should go for these right away. These are super critical. I underwhelmed this. That was a big mistake on my part.
I don't think I went far enough. Like I got some, and then
So the workers, one, you never lose them, which is kind of cool. You always get them back. But they allow you to activate your card abilities. Right. And these are divided into 2 different abilities. Some are you play the card, you put the guy on it activates the ability, one-time effect until you refresh.
Right.
And then there's ongoing effects and ongoing abilities. And this is really where a lot of the chaining and configuration comes together.
I think the meeple thing is like that's where you get into like card comboing, which I feel like we didn't do as good as we could have. Because in your head you're like board spaces, right? Like I gotta gather out here and get all this stuff, and I think it's chaining those different cards because like you can decide to. There's also solve, which is solve a quest if you meet the prerequisites or pay the guile or strength or what have you. But I think that
then you get a bonus for it,
right? But you could also just like solve the card. You don't even have to use it because you could play the card into your like lineup.
Yep.
Or you could just solve it. And I think I was solving it a lot of times where I should have been like using it and then solving it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's like all that like tension.
There's also upgrade cards. So there's items you can attach your mech, get the permanent upgrade. There's meteorites that basically this is how you generate money. You get a lot of money with this, and money is just in-game victory points. So it's just instant. He
was getting a ton of money.
Yeah.
All mine were based off of killing corruption, which I did sooner before I bought my upgrades or my meteorites, and then I didn't really utilize it that well as well.
So you keep kind of going, and then the spaces. We forgot about the spaces themselves. So each tile that you can move to will have some sort of ability. And this can range anywhere between drawing various cards, getting people, being able to actually do the melding or the upgrading or the boasting. That's the stars. We missed that initially. We thought we could just do it, and then we realized, oh no, you actually have to go to the location or have a card that tells you to
have
do
to have.
We missed that.
You have to be able to use your play card ability called solve to solve quests and do things. It's not like a added effect.
Right, and that gets a lot more into the chaining of all the cards. So you'll kind of keep going around and you can see cards, bills. Yeah,
and all of those things are like star prerequisites. Like have the most upgrades, or have 4 upgrades, have 4 melded cards, have 4 workers,
7 workers, 4 quests.
Yeah, so like those are all prerequisites to put out your stars,
right?
Which are then again multipliers.
Right. So you want to do all this stuff to get those stars out, to get that multiplier. You kind of keep doing this until Adam says. Then you get 4 different stars out there, and that triggers endgame.
Which doesn't mean you win, just like in Scythe.
Right, so...
I lost by a point.
So basically, you're going to... nice little matrix there, you're going to kind of count up and chaining all the various points and all the various multiples that you have, just like Scythe. Whoever has the most wins.
Yeah.
But all in all, I really like this.
Yeah. The replayability is really high.
I honestly would say play this first before Scythe.
That's a good idea.
Because it gets you into the world without
Yeah.
this massive commitment.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, because then if you play this, then Scythe I think would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And not that Scythe is hard to learn. There's just a lot of moving parts.
It's a commitment.
It is. A
if you don't like it when you start, you're in
also,
there for a
don't
while.
play 7-player Scythe with 4 new people with all expansions.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes. Unless you got 8 hours to kill. Yeah,
give or take. Yeah, Expeditions is a blast. Definitely check it out if you haven't played. Like, subscribe, comment on if you played or not, and do you have a favorite faction, and what your favorite color, if you haven't played this, what's your favorite color to be in Scythe, mine is yellow. Yeah, the white guys are cool. They can move across lakes and things, right? Yeah.
No restrictions.
So, we're Tabletop Vibes, and we'll check you next time.